Hi, everybody. My name is Cliff Horn. I'm a Public Information Officer at TRSL. With me today is my cohort, the other Public Information Officer, Miss Jerry Mack. She's going to be in the background for the second half of this workshop. She'll be in the background right now answering some questions as well as dropping some things into the chat box, some links to some things for us. That will help us go for today's workshop. Just as a reminder, today's workshop, what we're going to go over contains a lot of information about TRSL's retirement. We've gone over a generalization of the whole thing. If you have more information, you can always go to our website, TRSL.org. And you'll be able to get that information. We also want you to know everybody's been muted except for me. Hopefully you guys can hear me. My microphone's working. If you have a question, you're like, Cliff went too fast or too slow, or I have a follow-up on something like that, feel free to add those into the Q&A box in the Zoom format. You'll see there's a chat box and there's a Q&A. We'd ask that you put everything in the question and answer box, simply because that helps us round out where everything is so we can answer those questions. We will take some time to answer questions throughout. We'll take some little breaks here and there to do that. We're going to leave the chat box open, and that's simply for Jerry or myself, whoever's running in the background, to be able to drop off links to different things as we talk about the member handbook, retirement, sick leave, drop, all those different things. We'll be able to drop those into the chat box where you'll be able to see them. Also, let you know, we love when you take notes. But some people are like, well, this is way too much information. How am I going to copy all this down? No big deal. We're recording today's workshop. It will be available for you later this week to rewatch at any time on our webinar page, as well as our YouTube channel. We'll be putting it up there as well. The PDF of all the slides will also be available at that time. It's available on our website, trsl.org/members/webinars. There you'll see all of our webinars that we've done, not just this one. And like I said, it's also on our YouTube page at TRSL Online. If we get into something and you start asking questions that are specifically about your personal information, that would be your exact retirement eligibility or a salary amount or any of those things. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people in the workshop here today, so we can't look at anybody's account as we're going. Excuse me. So we ask that you send those questions to us, and we can answer them after the webinar. And to send them to us, you just simply need to go to the webpage, asktrsl.org. There you can type in your information, ask your questions, and then our webmasters will be able to see those and answer those questions for you. Now, it normally takes about a day to go through all the Ask TRSL webpage, all the questions, but we do get back to you to answer your question for you. Now, here comes the little part where I want you guys to grab a pen and some paper. You've probably already done this. You probably already have a notebook in front of you. But what do you want to learn today? What's the main thing that made me say, I think I need to go to this workshop. I think I'm ready to retire, but I don't know the steps. Is it about insurance? Is it about retirement eligibility, drop? When do I get my money? All those different things we're going to talk about today, but write down your specific questions that you want to get answered. That way we can go back in later. We're going to make sure we try to answer all those. But at the end, you're going to see this slide again, or Jerry's going to show it to you. And then we're going to go back and we're going to say, did we answer all your questions? And then that would be the time to ask those questions if we've not gotten to them. Now, what we're going to cover today on my section, we've broken it up into two little categories here. I've got a big chunk for us to cover. And then Jerry's going to cover I always like the good parts of the workshop. So we're going to talk about the TRSL plans themselves, how it's funded, your retirement eligibility. We're going to talk about estimates. We're going to talk about the calculations. For those of you who are not math oriented or not math teachers, don't worry. We've broken it down. And I think everybody's going to be able to understand how this calculation works. We'll talk about purchases and transfers of service credit, your retirement options, and then we'll talk about leave credit. At that point, we'll take a little break, answer some questions that you've posted for us that Jerry maybe wanted to share with the group. She will be answering some of those questions in the background to everybody as we go. But just in case there's some other ones we want to share or reiterate in the group, we'll do that for you. And we'll take that break and let Jerry and I swap places and then continue with the second half. So let's jump straight into our first part. Let's talk about TRSL. So we started in 1936. We are a public trust fund and a defined benefit plan. That is different than what you would think of now in retirement aspects of businesses like a 401. 401s are defined contribution plans, meaning you put money in, the employer will match, and then those funds are mixed together and invested. And then you get, when you retire, whatever the investment portfolio has managed to make. If it's gone up, then you get that money out, but you only get that money. We are a defined benefit plan, a pension plan. And what that means is it is set on a dollar amount when we do a calculation for a monthly payment. And then you receive that monthly payment every month for the rest of your life, a lifetime benefit. We are one of the largest public retirement systems in Louisiana with over 85,000 members. I think we're actually about 87, somewhere around there. In there, and we are benefits guaranteed by the state constitution. What that means is the money that we have in our retirement system is made up of contributions from you and your employer, and then the investments are done, and then whatever the interest earned is all kept just in our funds. It does not go out for anything else. It can't be used by law for anything else other than retirement benefits, and then also the running of TRSL. For those of you in TRSL, we break it down into two different retirement plans. The regular plan, that's probably what most of you are in here today with us. That's most members, teachers, admin, support staff, higher education, community colleges, personnel, those people are in our regular plan. Our Plan B members are school food service employees of 20 parishes. Those of you who are in our Plan B program contribute to TRSL and also contribute to Social Security. The rest of us are in our regular plan. We only contribute for this employment into TRSL, not into Social Security. And we'll talk a little bit about Social Security a little bit later. I think Jerry's going to cover some of that. Now, how do we fund this retirement? You may have noticed, I hope you've noticed, that you pay a portion of every paycheck goes towards your TRSL retirement benefit. It's paid into the program. Those contributions, your percentage, you contribute somewhere between 8% or 5%, depending on if you're a regular or Plan B member. Your school also contributes towards the TRSL retirement benefit. They contribute anywhere from 24 to 27%, depending on what type of school system you're in. K through 12 or higher education. We take all of those funds, your money that you've put in, plus the school's funds, we pool them together, and then we invest them. Those investments, the return on those investments, are what we use to pay out your benefits, your lifetime benefits, every month for the rest of your life. Eligibility to retire. This is normally the big question that most people have come to our workshops to know. When am I eligible to retire? I want to retire today, but when am I actually eligible? Well, that really depends on when you started with TRSL or in the school system and how old you are. Once you have those two things, we can give you your eligibility to retire because you have to meet both of those things, a certain age and a certain amount of service credit in order to retire. For those of you who started prior to July 1st, 1999, there are 5 eligibilities when it comes to your retirement. Be at least age 60 with 5 years of service, be any age with 20 years of service. Both of those you may retire on. It will be at a 2% benefit factor. And we're going to talk about benefit factors shortly when we break down how we calculate the benefit. To get to the 2.5 mark, you have to be at least age 65 with 20 years of service, age 55 with 25, or any age with 30 years of service. By meeting those requirements gets you to the 2.5% mark. Now, in these cases, for this group, you have to meet a certain age and an eligibility in order to retire. So now comes the little pop quiz. Occasionally, Jerry and I like to ask questions and get you guys to respond for us. So if you can, If I'm a member and I am age 54, no, let's do this. I'm 55 and I've got 24 years of service. Can I retire? If you can retire, do us a favor, give us a little raise your hand. There's a little button where you can raise your hand. So I'm 55 with 24 years of service. Can I retire? Yes or no? Raise your hand if you think yes. Jerry, do we have some hands being raised?
We do have some hands being raised.
All right. How many of you, if you say no, if you want in the chat, now you raise your hands. We have some no's.
Oh, yes, we have more no's.
So we have no's and yeses. So I'm 55 with 24 years of service. The answer is, in this case, I can retire because I've met an eligibility of an age and a requirement. And that would be any age with at least 20 years of service. 25 or 24 years is at least 20. So you've met that requirement. And any age. You've met that age requirement, but that would be at 2%. In order to get to 2.5, you'd have to go one more year. That would put you age 56 with 25 years of service. That's fine. You still meet the requirements, at least that age with at least that number of years. This is for anybody who came in prior to July 1st, 1999. The next group, July 1st, 1999 till December 31st, 2010, they made some changes to the system. Instead of 5 ways to leave the system, there are now 4 ways to leave the system. And that means at least age 60 with 5 years, at least age 55 with 25, any age with 20, and any age with 30. You see, they've eliminated the age 65 category, and they've made a small change to the any age with 20 years of service. All of these are going to be at 2.5%. But let's talk about that any age with 20 years. They've added 2 words in little parentheses there. It says actuarially reduced. What that means in reduction, it means 20 years of service is considered early retirement age. And then what they do is they say, well, you're retiring at that mark. We do the calculation, and then they will start reducing the benefit based on the number of years or months you are away from the regular retirement age, which would be age 55 with 25 or age 60 with at least 10 years of service. So there's a reduction, a percentage that happens for being actuarially reduced. Now, again, this was that category all the way up until December 31st, 2010. And then they made changes to the system one more time. And those changes are, wait, did we miss a slide?
Examples.
Oh, those are examples. Sorry. I'm sorry. New slides, whole new workshop. This is actually my first day back from vacation. I went to Europe for a little while, and now I've come back. To give you an example of the actuarial reduction in here. So age 50 with 20 years of service, the normal benefit, if you did the calculation, would be for this person would be $928 a month. But we have to do a reduction factor. In other words, we know that because how many years they are away from age 60, it is 46% reduced out of their benefit. For age 58 and 20 years, now they're 2 years away from age 60, you see the reduction factor goes down. And then age 60 with 20 years of service, there's no reduction, they get the full benefit. So you see, it makes a difference when we're looking at how early you take this early retirement, 20 at any age. Now, after that, they changed the system again. Anybody who started from January 1st, 2011 till 6/30/2015, there are only 2 eligibilities to meet retirement, at least age 60 with 5 years and any age with 20 years of service, again, actuarially reduced. And then again, July 1st, 2015 to the future, it is now age 62 with at least 5 years and actuarially reduced on any age with 20 years up to age 62. So you see, they just made a small adjustment for those categories. And most of you are thinking, well, Cliff, I'm not retiring until next year, which would be 2025. Where does that fit in this category? Well, we always have to look at when you started your employment. Whenever you started, that is the category group that we are going to use for your benefit. Now, if you're curious, you're like, how do I know how to get that information? In other words, where my calculation. Very simple. You can go to your member access, and on your member access, you can go to the calculator. And on the calculator, once you've logged into your account, you can do a my estimate for a calculation. All you need to know is the date that you want to retire, and if you are a 9, 10, 11, or 12-month employee. Then you click create estimate, and it will knock out an estimate for you, showing you the options for your retirement benefit based on that in less than 15 seconds. For some of you, if you don't have member access, you can log in or create one at the member access. Go to upper right-hand corner of trsl.org. There'll be a little button that says member access on there. If you don't have member access and you want to get an estimate, you can go and to TRSL's website and get a Form 10. That Form 10 is simply you requesting for us to create an estimate and send it to you. Now, this takes a little bit longer than 15 seconds because you have to fill out this form, send it to us, we process it, and then we will mail it back to you with your estimate information on there. When you get those, your two different estimates look like this. The one on the left-hand side is what your member access estimate looks like. It's on the screen. You can print it. You can save it. You can look at all that information. If you get a Form 10 and send it to us and we mail you an estimate, it looks like this and shows you the different options that are available to you. Now, when it comes to the calculation, how do we calculate this benefit? Well, the benefit is based on 3 factors: service credit, how much time you've spent in the system, times your FAC, final average compensation. It's a fancy way of saying, what is my monthly average salary? Those two things will then be multiplied by a benefit factor. That benefit factor is either 2 or 2.5%, depending on when you came into the system. Those 3 things together give us the maximum TRSL benefit. That's the most money you can get out of your benefit. What took me several years to figure out when we're looking at this formula, it simply says for every year that you work, we're going to give you 2.5 or 2% of your average salary. So if you do 20 years of service, that's going to equate to 50% of your average salary. If you do 30 years, that's 75%. And for those of you who I like to call the long haulers, 40 years of service equals 100% of your average salary. Now, let's take a few moments to look at each one of these parts of the benefit calculation. Service credit. That is how many years that you've been working in the system and paying into TRSL. We consider a year of service credit that starts between July 1st and ends on June 30th. Every time we look at this, we count that amount of time. So we ask your employer, if she or he worked that time from July 1st to June 30th, how much could they earn during that time in their contract? So let's say your contract says 100, because I like easy numbers to do this. It says $100. So if you worked that entire time and you got paid $100, so we now divide 100 possibility by 100 earned, that gives us one year of service credit. If you started in the middle of the year or started late or took some unpaid leave time off, let's say you only earned $56. Well, I earned 56, but the contract says $100. So when we divide that out, we're going to get a 0.56 of a year of service credit. So partial years. So in looking at all of this, we always do the calculations when it comes to your eligibility by rounding it up to the 10th place. So if you have 24.96 years of service, that means it rounds up to 25 and you're eligible to retire. If you have 24.94, it means you've got to come back to school and work probably for about another 2 to 3 weeks just to get it to round up to that 25 year mark. The FAC, final average compensation. Like I said, fancy way of saying, what's my monthly average salary? Depending on when you came into the system, we're going to use either your 3 highest consecutive years or your 5 highest consecutive years. If you started work in TRSL prior to January 1st, 2011, it is based on your 3 highest consecutive years in your career. In most cases, it's probably going to be your last 3. But some of you may have had a different trajectory in life. You may have started as a teacher, moved to an assistant principal, and then back down to a teacher. Where are our highest salaries going to be? When we were an assistant principal. So we're always going to look at the 3 highest consecutive years, wherever they may be in your career. For those of us like myself who started after January 1st, 2011, it's based on your 5 highest years. So it's just a different number of years that we look at to calculate that average. Now you'll notice some information on this slide here talking about a salary cap of 10% or 15%. What that salary cap really means is that you are from one year to the next, whatever salary you get is yours. But for us doing the calculation of your salary average, if your increase for the first group goes higher than 10%, let's say you get a 12% increase in your pay because you've moved to a new position that got a 12% more than last year. That's great. You get that 12%. But for us doing the FAC, the salary calculation, we can only use up to 10% for that salary calculation. For the other group, it's a 15% cap. So from one year to the next, 15% higher is what we can use. Now, anytime they put rules in like this, they also make exceptions to those rules. It does not include any increases given by legislative acts. The stipends that we recently got, or you recently got, are not included in the 10% or 15% increase, the cap portion. Any system-wide increases. So if your school system gives everyone in the system a pay raise, that also would be excluded from the caps on there. So you always want to check to see where those fall in. Now, the benefit factors are kind of easy to explain. It's either 2 or 2.5%, depending on when you came into the system. There's no way to get higher than 2.5%, and there's no way to get less than 2%. It's either 2 or 2.5. There is no middle ground in between any of these. It's just a number set by the state when it came to the calculation of retirement benefits. If you came in prior to July 1st, 1999, it's either 2 or 2.5, depending on how much service credit you have in your age. Anybody who came in after July 1st, 1999, it's 2.5 across the board, no matter what. And then for those people who are our Plan B members, it is always 2%. You can never reach the 2.5% mark. Some of us may have worked in other states in public schools, or we may have refunded service time. We may have worked in the system, TRSL, left thinking we're never coming back, taken our funds out, our contributions, and now we're back. You have the ability to put this time that you've worked in other public schools in other states, private schools here in Louisiana, charter schools here in Louisiana, or unused military time for retirement benefits. All of those may be used or may be transferred to us in order to add more service credit. Now, you may have had some friends who were talking from Lasers, the other retirement system, talking about buying airtime to meet the eligibility. We do not have that eligibility or that ability to do that, to buy airtime. We can only purchase time that was actually earned, either in another school system, another state, or in the military, or refunded time. We can't just make up time based on you putting in money into the system. In all of these, there is a process to do that. You will submit an application depending on what you're buying. Refunded time, private school here in Louisiana, public school in another state, military time. All of those have different applications, which are forms available on TRSL's website. There will also, in some cases, be an application fee. And the application fee is, remind me, it's $150? $250 in there now in order to process the calculation. You turn in that to us. TRSL will take it and forward it to an actuarial accountant. Ooh, sorry, we have a bit of a storm here, so you may hear some thunder in the background. Once that is processed by the accountant, they will do a calculation. and send it over to you, the member, to say, hey, this is what it would cost to bring that money back into the system to get you your benefit, your service credit up. You decide whether you want to purchase it or not. You don't have to purchase it. You don't have to purchase all of it. But once you do, we put that money into the system, and you now have increased your service credit, making it closer to your retirement eligibility. Some things to consider about your retirement options. When you get ready to retire, there are actually 8 different options available to you. Once you select that option and retire, that is the one we've put in. We cannot change it. You've locked it in. Depending on the option you choose, determines how much you and a beneficiary, after you've passed, would receive as a benefit. It is based on ages of you and that beneficiary. Making this choice and locking it in, we cannot change it for any reasons. So let's take a few moments to look at the different eligibilities or the different retirement options for you. The first one is the maximum. That's the one we've been talking about this whole time. That is service times your salary average times 2 or 2.5% gives you the maximum benefit. You get that amount every month for the rest of your life. And then when you pass away, anything remaining, the balance that you have in your contributions, would be paid as a lump sum to your estate. It does not go to an individual. There are no beneficiaries listed. It goes to your estate upon your death, if there are any funds left of your contributions, the 8% you put into the system. The next option is called option 1. Option 1 is the only option that allows you to list one or multiple people as beneficiaries. And you may change them at any time. 5 years into your retirement, your son has a baby, and you want to add the grandchild in as a beneficiary, you can put them on the list. You may take someone off the list at that time as well if you want. You do not have to list family members. It can be friends, neighbors, coworkers, the people you sit next to inquire, whoever you'd like it to be. You may change it at any time as well, even into your retirement. This is the only option that allows multiple people as beneficiaries and allows you to change them at any time. The next set of retirement options for you are options 2, 3, and 4. These are lifetime benefits for you and a lifetime benefit for a beneficiary. Depending on their age, it will adjust the benefit that you are going to be receiving. So if you two are close in the same age, same lifespan, then the benefit's not going to be reduced that much. If you selected someone like a 2-year-old granddaughter, because she's so much younger than you are, the life expectancy is higher, which means your benefit's going to be lower because we have to pay over a longer period of time. Option 2, I call this one the same option. You pick one person as your beneficiary. They do a calculation based on your life expectancy and theirs. You get that amount every month for the rest of your life. And then when you pass away, that one person that's your beneficiary gets that same amount every month for the rest of their life. Does not matter how old they are. It can be a minor, it can be an adult, it can be a neighbor, a grandmother, whoever you want it to be. They receive the same amount every month for the remainder of their life. The next option, called option 3, I call this one the half. Member receives an amount that's slightly larger than the option 2 amount. They get that every month for the rest of their life. And then when they pass away, the beneficiary, that one person, receives exactly half of that amount every month for the rest of their life. And then option 4. Option 4, I call the seesaw or the balancing act, because you set the amount you want to leave this person. If you set them at, let's say, $200 a month, by setting theirs low, that means yours on this balancing act can be higher than theirs. If you say, well, no, I want to leave them $500, that raises theirs. Well, we got to lower your amount to make this even out for this calculation. So option 4 is you get that amount every month for the rest of their life. When you pass away, they get whatever the amount you selected is. Now, in looking at these options, it's a lifetime benefit for you and a lifetime benefit for them. What happens if the beneficiary dies before you do? We cannot add anybody new because it was based on life expectancy of that person based on their ages. So in these options 2, 3, and 4, beneficiary passes away before you do, you stay right where you are. Nothing changes in that category. And that's because they've passed away and we can't add anybody new. But we've created another set of options. Options called pop-up retirement. Option 2A, 3A, and 4A work just like their counterpart. 2A is the same. You get an amount. When you pass away, they get the same. 3A is the half. You get a little bit larger amount. And when you pass away, they get half. And then 4A is the seesaw. The difference is that if something were to happen and your beneficiary were to pass away before you did, you would move or pop up to the maximum. And then you receive the maximum every month for the rest of your life because you've lost your beneficiary. You must select these options, a 2A, 3A, or 4A option, at the time of your retirement when you're filling out your paperwork. You can't come back to us 3 months into your retirement saying, my husband Earl's got this cough. Can we move from option 2 to 2A? Fortunately, we can't. You must select it at the time of that. Let's talk about what else you can add into your benefit to make it a little bit larger. Your sick leave. We've all heard that phrase, you either use it or lose it. That's not really how it works with service credit or sick leave for us. When you get ready to retire, your school system will pay up to 25 days of any unused sick leave at your current day rate of pay. That's either retiring or enter drop. They also may wait until you get ready to retire. Not entering drop, but wait till after drop. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Drop. After they pay those 25, any unused time after that is then sent to TRSL. We will take it and look in converting it into service credit for you. Additional days convert into service credit added to your benefit. So instead of retiring with 25 years of service, you may be retiring with 25.6 years of service or 27 years of service, depending on how much time you have in the system. Now, sick leave cannot be used to reach the retirement eligibility. You can't come to us and say, Cliff, I'm at 24 years of service. I've got a year's worth of sick leave. Can I just go ahead and retire at 25 years? No, you can't. You have to reach your eligibility first before you get to add the sick leave. Now, how the sick leave is added is used on this chart right here. It depends on if you're a 9, 10, 11, or 12-month employee. In the course of this, depending on what you have, we just follow this chart that says, I'm a 9-month employee and I've got 80 days of sick leave left on the books. Great. 9 months, 80 days gets you half a year of service credit. So instead of retiring with 25, I've now got 25.5 years of service. So it adds a little extra into your retirement for your benefit. If you are looking and you say, well, Cliff, I've never taken a day of sick leave in my 28-year career. I may have given every kid in my class the flu, but I did not miss a day. What happens if I'm well over that mark of 180 days from a 9-month employee? Well, what does that mean? Do I just lose those? No. What that means is we convert for you up to the 180 days. That gets you a year's worth of sick leave. Anything over that, we're going to send you a letter when you're retired. It takes about 4 to 6 months into your retirement. You'll get this letter that says we've added up all your sick leave and added it to your benefit. You've got some left over, and we'll tell you how much is left. If you want to buy that amount and convert it into service credit, you can spend a dollar amount to buy it and convert it into more service credit to give you a higher benefit. Immediately, some of you are rushing to your keyboard to type in, well, how much does 6 months worth of sick leave or 30 days or whatever it may be? We don't know. Each person here is different. It is based on your average salary at the time you terminate employment. They'll do a calculation and send it over to you. So everybody here is probably different depending on what your salary is at the time you're retired. You're not even retired yet, so we don't know what your salary is for this. For those of you who are 12-month employees who also get annual leave, let's talk about your annual leave for a second. Annual leave is a little bit different. They will pay you, the school system will pay you for up to 300 hours of your annual leave. Anything over that, your school will send us a notice of those extra days, and you may purchase the remainder to convert into service credit. There is no up to a year of annual leave. So it's just the sick leave that gets converted up to a year, no cost. Annual leave, there is a cost included in there for that. With that, we're at a point, we're going to take just a quick break. I want to catch a drink of water. Jerry right here has got some questions for us.
I do.
So if you want to
Yes.
send us some questions, I'm going to grab a sip of water here while we're doing this.
I will be happy to answer a few of their questions. So we've had a couple of questions coming in. Some of those I was able to type back to you. Others I was able to just mark it as something we're going to answer today. And there were a couple of you, my apologies for just going back and saying, I really can't answer that, I really can't answer that. There's a lot of you in this session, and there's one Cliff speaking, and there's one Jerry typing, and then we will switch off in a little bit. So that's why I was not able to get into some weeds with some of you, and I had to redirect y'all to asktrsl.org. So Cliff, if you would like to answer this one.
As long as it's not a dad joke, we're good.
No.
Okay.
No. I'll have those in a little bit. Do you know about the exemption from web? Could you? I know it's in my section later.
Sure.
But do you mind just a quick spoiler alert about the
Sure.
web?
We will skip ahead of this. So in late December, January, the federal government proposed a bill, and it was signed into law. They have eliminated WEP and GPO, which are offsets, reductions in Social Security benefits. For those of you who are eligible for Social Security, we used to, if you got a check from TRSL and Social Security at the same time, Social Security would be reduced because you're getting a benefit from the state. As of, like I said, December, January, they signed into law, getting rid of those reductions in Social Security benefits because you're getting a benefit from the state of Louisiana. So what that means is you are eligible for your full Social Security benefit, whatever that may be, and your TRSL benefit with no reductions at all. For information on Social Security, we'd recommend going to the Social Security website. That email address or the web address for Social Security, real simple, ssa.gov will take you over to the Social Security page. And if you want to, in the search bar,
chat.
Link in the chat. In the search bar, if you want to type WEP or GPO, whichever WEP is the WEP, it'll take you to the information about the reduction and how it was eliminated from the Social Security program in general. So what else you got for me, Jerry? Fire away.
A couple of other ones. Let's see. I'm going to answer a couple quick ones and throw to you, Cliff. Do I need to send in my husband's information documentation if he's not my beneficiary? So when you fill out your Form 11, you will just respond to that, no beneficiary. And then you would also indicate no beneficiary on your affidavit, but they would need to sign spousal consent saying that they are A-OK with your plans.
Yep.
Question about insurance. Any insurance questions need to be directed towards your employer because they are the ones who are coordinating that, because insurance is an employment benefit even into retirement.
Yeah.
And so we had a couple of questions. We had one ask about, well, I'll just answer this one quickly. No. Does annual leave balance apply towards service credit? The answer is no. But talk to your employer about any options as far as what one can do with additional annual leave.
So if you have your annual leave, they will, like, you can't add it to TRSL. It doesn't add it automatically. 4 to 6 months, if you have any left over and you haven't done anything with it, whether your school has let you take some vacation days before your retirement date or donate them to someone else, TRSL will send about 4 to 6 months into your retirement a letter. And that letter will say, hey, you've got some annual leave left on the books. If you'd like it purchased into
sick leave. Only sick leave will do that.
Annual
Only
leave?
sick leave, not annual leave. Only sick leave automatically does that. You can request annual leave for that. You have to request it.
Yeah, sorry.
Request.
You have to request the annual leave. to be able to be converted. And they'll give you that cost. So let's talk about our next little section that we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about the types of retirement that are available to you. We've been talking about one in general, and then we're going to jump into some other ones. The other ones we're going to talk about, one of them, Deferred Retirement Option Plan, also known as DROP. We'll talk a little bit about that one. This is going to be a abbreviated version of a workshop that we actually just did this morning called Drop 411. You can watch that one if you want. It will be available later this week on our YouTube page. Please check it out, TRSL Online, if you want to look for it. We'll talk about ILSB in this workshop, and as well as some other benefits. Then we're going to take a little bit of a break, answer some more questions, just like we've done right now. And Jerry and I are going to swap places at that time. Is that right? That is right. So services are a type of retirement that are offered. Service, that's the one we've been talking about this whole time. You work until you reach a certain age and the amount of service credit. Then you retire, start taking a monthly benefit. The next two are called nest egg retirements. That is DROP and ILSB. DROP allows you, once you reach the eligibility to go on a DROP, lock in a benefit. That benefit is then deposited into a DROP account for you every month for up to 36 months. At the end of that time, you retire, get a monthly check, and that lump sum, that nest egg, in that DROP account. The other one is ILSB, initial lump sum benefit. It's very simple. You retire immediately and then ask for a lump sum of money out of your DROP account. By taking that lump sum, it causes a reduction a permanent reduction in the monthly benefit that you receive as your retirement check. Speaking of deferment, deferred retirement means you have at least 5 years in the system. By having 5 years in, you may terminate employment, leave your funds in the system, and then come back to TRSL once you have reached a certain age, 60 or 62, and then you can apply for your retirement based on the time that you left here in our system. And the last one's called disability. If you're no longer able to perform your job because of a medical condition, you may apply for TRSL disability retirement. You must be approved by a state medical board, meaning you have to fill out paperwork, your supervisor, your employer, and your doctor. All this information is sent to a disability board. They approve it, disapprove it, or have more questions. You get more files sent over to that board. Once it is approved, you are receiving a disability retirement, meaning you cannot work in a position similar to that anywhere, not just in Louisiana, but in the States, or actually in the world, working as a position that's very similar to that. Let's go back for a few minutes. I want to talk about DROP. Like I said, we have several different programs or different workshops where we talk about DROP, but I want to give you the highlights of it. I'm trying not to say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is the Cliff Notes version of those other work. Jerry's excited. I've said a dad joke, and she's very excited about that. DROP, Deferred Retirement Option Program, is an optional program that allows you to freeze the monthly benefit. You continue to work, earning your regular paycheck. We are taking your retirement check, if you would have retired on that day, and start depositing it into your account. Minimum amount of time to be in DROP is 1 day. Why you would only be in 1 day, I don't know. It's an optional program. You tell us how long you're going to be in for up to 36 months. You are not signing any documentation that says I will be locked in and working for 3 years. You are working up to 3 years or longer if you want, but 3 years in DROP. If I decide to leave earlier than that, I will let TRSL know. Now, this benefit you lock in is frozen based on that calculation of years of service times the salary times 2 or 2.5%. We get that number. That's the number that we are going to, once you've gone into DROP, cannot change it. You've locked in which option you're going to choose, option maximum 1, 2, 2A, 3, all those different options. You've locked it in. We cannot change it for any reason. You may apply for DROP up to 12 months before your window of opportunity, your DROP window opens. This is a key number to know, or a key date to know, because you only get 36 months of participation from the day that opens. That is your window of participation. So that thing opens at that time, and then it will start to close. Every month you wait, your participation gets a little smaller and smaller. In some cases, you may even miss your window of participation based on it. Now, you do not have to go in when it first opens. But if you wait, let's say you wait 6 months, cool, you can wait 6 months. But that means instead of 36 months of participation, we now only have 30 months of participation. You want to wait a year? Cool, that's great too. But then we only have 24 months of participation. You always really need to know when is your first day of eligibility to go into drop. So let's take a look at those eligibilities. Anybody who started prior to January 1st, 2011, it's age 60 with at least 10 years, age 55 to 25, any age with 30 years. Now you will notice there is a asterisk next to age 60 with 10, because in that category, it will be at a 2% benefit factor to go into drop. The other ones, age 55 with 25 and any age with 30, those would be at 2.5%. For those of you who came in between January 1st, 2011 and June 30th, 2015, your eligibility, there's only one, age 60 with at least 5 years. And then those from July 1st, 2015 on is age 62 with 5 years. Now, some of you are like me, I'm in that second category, January 1st, 2011 to 2015, age 60 with 5 years. Well, when I turn 60, I'm going to have close to 25 years. Does that mean I've missed my window? No. It means I have to meet both eligibilities, the age requirement and the year requirement. So I'll have over 25 years in the system. So I've met the at least 5 years. And then age 60, when I turn 60, I'll be eligible to go into drop at that time. While you're in drop, what stays the same? You continue to work. You got to show up for the classroom, but you continue to draw a salary. Nothing has changed out of that salary. You continue to earn and use any leave, any sick leave or annual leave that you get. You're eligible for any raises, promotions, or bonuses or stipends. All of that is still available to you, just like you are a normal, regular employee. Matter of fact, the school system just looks at you as a same employee throughout the thing. It's just we look at you as a drop member. You may also change jobs or employers. So if you want to leave EBR and go to West Feliciana, you can do that, so long as there is no break in service. What is a break in service? That is as simple as a day. So if you stopped working at EBR on Wednesday, and you started working at West Feliciana on Friday, what was happening on Thursday? You weren't employed by either one of them. That is a break in service. So you always want to make sure that when you're changing employers, there is no break. What is different while you're in drop? Well, you are no longer contributing anything to TRSL. Because you are not contributing the 8%, so you kind of get a little pay raise. Because you're not earning any or not contributing any of your pay during that time, you're not earning any service credit. So nothing is being reported to us during that time. Your benefit is effectively frozen, so we cannot change it for anything. To give you an example of this, if we're looking at this member, their maximum benefit for their calculation was $23.56. So that's what they chose. They decided to be in drop only for 12 months. So that's $23.56 times 12, giving them $28,000 and some change in their drop account. If they go 2 years, that's $56,000. If they do all 3 years, that's $84,000. Meaning that when they retire from this, if they do all 36 years or 36 months, not 36 years. Wow, that'd be a long time.
Woo!
36 months.
I'm not doing 36 years of drop.
No. At the end of the 36 months of drop, they could retire, start receiving a retirement check of $23.56, and then also have that $84,000 in their drop account to do with however they please. Once you complete drop, you have 2 options. You may choose to either book or globe. That's how I need pictures to help me remember a lot of this information. If I decide at the end of drop participation, I like my job, I'm still enjoying it, I can continue to work. Drop deposits will end at that time. I will start paying my 8% back into TRSL, and I'll start earning what's called a supplemental benefit based on the years after drop that I'm working. Or I can simply terminate employment, start receiving my monthly check and my drop account at the same time. Now, it comes down to, is drop the right thing for me? It really looks at it as 2 versus 2.5%. Because if I lock in at 2%, no matter how much more time I work after, I'll never get to 2.5. It's always locked in. Am I going to get any kind of significant pay raise or position change while I'm in drop? If I'm moving from a assistant or a teacher to an assistant principal, and then up to a principal while I'm in drop, my salary is going to change. Because of that change, that's great for you personally, but it doesn't change your retirement benefit. Would it be better not to do drop at all and get that higher salary locked into that higher benefit? Or how long do I plan to work after drop? By working many years after drop, I'm going to get a supplemental calculation added to my check, but would it have been better not to do drop and work longer to get that higher benefit? Because we do have some people like, I plan on working my full 40 years in the system. Great. If you do drop, how many years are you working? 40? No. You're working 43 because, 3 of those years are while you're in drop. We do not count those 3 years. So you physically are going to do 43 years in a system, but we're only going to count the 40. The 3 years that you were in drop don't count towards service credit. Drop may not be the right program for you. You say, well, I don't want to work 3 more years. I just want to work until I'm eligible to retire, but I still need that lump sum of money to do something. The other program we have is called ILSB, Initial Lump Sum Benefit. It's an alternative to drop. It allows you to take out a lump sum of your money at the time that you retire, but in doing so causes a permanent reduction in your monthly benefit. The eligibilities for ILSB look very similar to drop. It's because they're the same eligibilities. The difference is there is no window of participation. You can wait until you're age 60 with 10, or age 60 with 30 years, or 55 with 28 years, any age with 35, doesn't matter. So long as you meet the requirement, the minimum requirement, you're eligible to do that ILSB. Now, when I mentioned the lump sum and then the reduction, so I'll give you an example. This member is 57. They've got a 58-year-old beneficiary. Their maximum benefit would be $2,700 a month. They say, well, I want to take out the most money I can. Now, some people say, well, Cliff, can I just take out $1.3 million? No. You can't take out any amount that you want. There is a finite number, and it is 36 times whatever the maximum benefit is. So for this person, they say, I want to take out the maximum. Well, their benefit is $2,700 a month. The maximum is that times 36, means $97,200 is the most they can take out. This member is 57 years old. So at 57, for every $1,000 they take out in the lump sum, we have to reduce their monthly benefit by $7.29. What that means is when they take out that $97,200, their monthly benefit goes from $2,700 to $1,992 a month as a permanent reduction in their benefit. You do not have to take out the maximum amount. If you come back to us and say, Cliff, I only need half that amount. I need $48,000 to take out. Sure, we do the same calculation. $7.29 for every 1,000. You're taking out 48.6 thousand. So 48.6 times 7.29 comes out to a dollar amount that we subtract from your benefit, which means it goes from $2,700 a month to $3,350. You're like, Cliff, I don't want to do all this math. I don't want to do it either. You don't have to. Member Access, the calculator online, will do this for you so you know exactly how much you're eligible to receive the maximum, and you can plug in different amounts to see, well, if I take out $50,000, what does it go? If I take out $30,000, here's what it goes down to. Lets you play with those numbers all on that calculator. Things to think about if you're looking at ILSB. Do I need a lump sum of money? to do something, to pay off the house, to take the trip to Paris, to buy the ski boat my husband's always wanted. Whatever you want to do, if you don't need a lump sum, maybe not to, maybe not. The reduction is a permanent reduction. So if I take out $40,000 and it lowers my benefit, that benefit is always going to be low. I can't come back to TRSL and say, I didn't need 40,000, I just need 20. Here's some of it back. It's great. We can't take any of it back. Your number is permanently reduced on there. So you always want to look at these different things when you're looking at them. Other benefits to think about. Having at least 5 years in the system means you are vested. Being vested means you are eligible for benefits. Deferred retirement, we already mentioned that one, where you can leave the system and then when you meet your age requirement, come back and retire off of those benefits, the at least 5 years you have in the system. Survivor benefits, really not for you, but for your spouse and minor children. If something were to happen to you and you pass away while you're still working and you have at least 5 years in the system, that means your spouse would receive a lifetime benefit. Your minor children will also receive a benefit until they're no longer minors. That is age 18 or 23 if they're a full-time student during that period. If you have a child who is permanently disabled before their age of 18 and still marked as a minor, they also would get that lifetime benefit. And then we talked about disability retirement. Disabilities by having at least 5 years. If you started on or after January 11th, 2011, that's a weird date to put in. Why they didn't do January 1st, 2011, I don't know, but they just picked 1111 is the date. If you were hired after that date, it is not a 5 years for disability retirement. You must have at least 10 years for disability. All right. And with that, that brings us to our break here. Jerry and I are going to swap places. And she's going to, we've got some, slide it over towards you. Jerry's trying to run some buttons for me in the background. There you go. Found it? All right. So we're going to swap places and then we'll jump into the second half or the second act of our workshop here today.
Hi everyone, this is Jerry with Teachers Retirement. So now I'll be talking for a little while. I see the clicker on this side. All right, Cliff. Okay. I'm all centered and everything. Well, not entirely centered, but maybe centered in the frame, if you know what I mean, friends. Anyway, so this is what I'm talking about in this portion. Cliff's could be on the other side. There was a question that I did leave to be answered live, and then the rest of them I know you'll hit up, Cliff, over there. And we dropped a lot of different things in the chat that you'll find interesting and things that you want to read. We did find a question in the chat that asked, so how am I going to know about my drop window? So do I get notified? The answer is no. I wish there was a way we could contact everyone and say, hey, your drop window open. There just isn't. So there are two ways that you can take a look and see what fiscal year your drop window will open. And then for a specific date, you would ask TRSL or you would ask your employer, or you could go online and play with the retirement calculators. So the two places in which you'll see what your fiscal year eligibility is, it might be 2026-27, it might be 2029-30. Don't know, but just kind of give you an idea. So it's going to be on page 2 of your member statement, and it's going to be on the top of the estimator whenever you do a calculator online through Member Access. And what's good to know about that is August is a great time to check out your member access, your member summary, get a new member statement, all the good stuff. That's a really good time to go ahead and get that done in August, right before the school year starts, or maybe at the end of July, because our system is going to be updating and refreshing in early July. So I'll be talking about member access, the way to apply for retirement, how TRSL pays your benefits, tax liabilities, community property, returning to work after retirement, Social Security contact information, because I don't say the word offset anymore, right, Cliff? It's gone. It's gone from the vocabulary, and things to do now. So let's talk about member access. Hopefully everyone here who's listening has a member access account. If you don't, please go ahead and open one. You can calculate those future retirement estimates, update your name, your mailing address, your email address, apply for retirement or drop, and there are things you can certainly view there as well. On your annual statement, which is going to be dropping, well, not to say dropping, but it's going to be hitting your member access. It's going to be hitting at the middle to end of July. On page 1, you'll be able to see your total service credit. My screen has now gone blank, but if that was a test, I know what was coming up next. Page 1, page 2, it came back. It just did it for a second. Page 2 is going to be your retirement scenario options. So at the bottom, you see early retirement and regular retirement for this particular individual. Perhaps you've already passed by your early retirement date. The regular retirement / drop eligibility is for this particular individual 2035-2036. So this particular individual might say, hey, let me see when that's going to be. So maybe yours is going to be 2031-2032. Maybe you want to see what Halloween of 2031 looks like, or your 55th birthday in 2032, and see what rounds up, and then verify that date with your employer and with us over here at TRSL. You can go online to do your estimate. It's under the My drop-down menu. Select Estimate Your Retirement Benefit. Applying for retirement, that's the same spot that you can apply for retirement up to 12 months before your desired date. Now, there is a document called Destination Retirement that I added into the chat a little while ago. It's a nice little 8-pager, really colorful, print it up or do some screenshots that will show you all the steps along the way that I'm going over at this point forward. You do want to stay in touch with your employer, and you do want to reach out to TRSL if you have any purchases, transfers, or service credit that you want to line up before your date of retirement or entering drop. Applying for retirement, you can apply online through Member Access, or you can submit the paper Form 11 via fax mail, or you can scan and email it over to us. Within 2 weeks of submitting this Form 11, TRSL will mail you an acknowledgement letter that will let you know that it was received and that it is going to be processed. Applying through Member Access, straight through the Apply for Retirement under the My Retirement drop-down menu, automatically your information and your spouse's will automatically load from your account, but you can make changes if necessary. What's really important here is to submit the online application by clicking Submit Application. That is hitting send. If you're like me, sometimes I'm like, why didn't that person write back on the email? And it's still sitting in my my drafts, or I didn't hit send on a text. So be sure to hit Submit Application,
And congratulations, it's an exciting time. So celebrate your retirement in whatever that looks for you. That might be just you in the shape of the door on the way out. That might be you having dinner with your family and friends. That might be a parade through the streets, which is going to be me, letting everybody know 7.5 years in advance. So just think about what that means for you. That might just mean a nice little quiet home at dinner or a nice book or even a vacation. So celebrate it. It's a very special time, friends. Additional documents and forms needed. We will absolutely need photocopies of the following: members and beneficiary social security cards and birth certificates, just copies. If you're not selecting a beneficiary, if you're only selecting the maximum option, we will not need that information. Anything else, any other legal or marriage documents or divorce decrees, we will be in touch with you if we need those while your application is being processed. So if you're applying just for drop, Form 11 and you're done. But if you're applying for retirement instead of drop or ILSB, you're going to fill out the Form 11. You'll also fill out the 15D and the W4P, which is for your federal taxes. Closer to your retirement date. So if you apply, let's say 12 months in advance, closer to your retirement date, which is going to be a few weeks out, you'll receive an affidavit of retirement option election along with instructions. This is when your retirement is locked in and it gets very serious. On this affidavit, you'll choose your retirement option, and if you're selecting a beneficiary option as well for a lifetime beneficiary. Be sure to mail this back in to us, but before you do so, it needs to be notarized. So it'll need to be witnessed by a notary, and it must not have any alterations or edits on it, or it will not be accepted. So not a lot of documents that we're pay particular attention to, and this one specifically is very important. It's a legal document. How do we pay your benefits in retirement? So earlier we were talking about service retirement, and service retirement, think of TRSL as a grocery store. It's the fruit of your labor. So it's the fruits of your labor on the first of every month. That first of the month check, the first time ever is going to be a paper check. Everything after will be direct deposit. But think of it on the first of the month after a 30-day waiting period. So it doesn't just take 30 days, though the whole process does take a few months. So if you do happen to just apply for retirement and say, I'm out of here in a month, well, you might have a cash flow issue from TRSL because we can't instantly pay you the first of the following month. So it's going to take a little bit of time. But if you apply a few months in advance and you have to wait 30 days for your pay period, and you'd be on the first of the following month. Now, keep in mind your drop account. So if we're to TRSL, let's say the fruit stand, the farmer's market, TRSL, that would be your vegetables. So maybe your bag of vegetables is 3 years. Maybe it's just 2 years. Maybe it's 1 year. Maybe you took ILSB, so you had a 50% bag of vegetables. I don't know. But at some point, that drop account is going to zero out because that is just going to be an option for you. It is just a savings account, so it's going to zero out. But your retirement check, the fruit of your labor rather, that's for the rest of your life. You won't worry about outliving your retirement benefit. You'll always receive that check. So you might be 99 years old, warm in your bed, still collecting a retirement check. Estimated benefit. We can't overpay you and then collect on it. So we underpay you just a little bit until we settle all that out about 4 to 6 months after your retirement benefit. That'll catch you up to speed with a retroactive payment. And at this point, any remaining sick leave that's converted to service credit, you'll know this as well. So that 25 days and up to 1 year as well. What happens to your insurance? Had a couple of you ask this in the question box. Excellent question. In retirement, your health and life insurance are still benefits of employment. So reach out to your employer about anything about your insurance regarding coverage or vesting or premiums. Regarding taxes, yes, you will absolutely pay federal taxes. And if you live in the state of Louisiana, your regular monthly benefits and your drop withdrawals are subject to Louisiana state income tax. Now, it's not automatic. You must claim the exemption when you file your taxes. So when you get to that section, we all know the section, right? The 45 or 50 times where you answer no, 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 no. Well, you'll answer yes one year. So keep in mind, that's where you will check that box, so to speak. Community property, do remember that most payments or benefits received by TRSL are considered community property. If there's any additional information we need regarding any previous marriages or divorces or spouses that have passed away, we will reach out to you for that information during the processing period. Return to work after retirement. One of you asked this about the return to work after retirement. So it is a very complicated scenario. What I would recommend is if you are retiring soon, so everyone listening, you're probably retiring within a few months or a few years away. If you have applied and you have a retirement date, then reach out to TRSL about the return to work laws. Because right now, the way the return to work laws are right now is going to impact those of you that are applying for retirement right now. If you're applying for retirement in 3 or 4 years or 5 years or 10 years, reach out to us into the future to find out what the laws are then, because they very likely may be a little bit different. Now, that's when we're talking about returning to work at a TRSL covered position within the umbrella of TRSL. So anything in the state of Louisiana in education, K through 12, higher ed, participating charter schools, some state agencies, contract or corporate contract work. They're eligible for TRSL membership, and there may be different things to consider on that. Now, when it comes to anything outside of the TRSL umbrella, and fancy, we're talking about an umbrella with this little storm going on out here. It's just a summer storm. It'll change, I'm sure, in a few minutes. So anything outside of the TRSL umbrella, anything out of state or in a different retirement system, K through 12 higher ed out of state, public or private, in-state private schools, non-participating charter schools, private sector employment, K through 12 custodial or maintenance positions or bus drivers. That's a different system. Higher ed classified positions, all types of things that are outside of the TRSL system. They're not eligible for TRSL membership. There's no waiting period. There's no critical shortage. You're able to have your cake and eat it too. So that's when it comes to return to work. The easy button is outside of the TRSL system. As we mentioned earlier, Social Security, we're not getting into the details we've gotten into before because we don't have to talk about those things anymore. Yay. So no throwing of the tomatoes, even virtually. Types of Social Security benefits. Spousal benefits, which includes many different types of things. This is the slide I was referring to, Cliff. Spouses benefits, divorced spouses benefits, widower benefits, and surviving divorced spouses benefits. All of those types of things, you might be eligible for one of those, or perhaps an earned benefit in which you paid into Social Security long enough to earn a Social Security benefit with your own earned credits, which used to be quarters. Am I correct on that, Cliff?
Correct.
Correct. So for detailed information about your Social Security benefit, please contact them directly. This is their website and their 800 number. And by the way, we have recorded this webinar, and this webinar recording will be posted this week along with the PDF as well. So you'll be able to have these notes going forward. The SSA homepage over here at ssa.gov is available to you. We do recommend that you create a My Social Security account. You can check your Social Security status, request a replacement card, view your statement, and change your address. Social Security office locator. You can locate an office, but if I'm aware of it right now, you cannot have an appointment at an office. And that is as of this morning. I double checked that with our friend Maria, who will be in a couple of weeks, or is it next week, Cliff? In the next week or two, we've got Understanding Social Security, a couple of workshops. So if you're watching this on YouTube, no worries. We're going to record it and post it there as well. So reach out to the SSA to make an appointment. Now, when you reach out to them to make an appointment, that's via a phone call. And via a phone call for your appointment, they will schedule you for a phone appointment, and it's about 2 months out. And I know because I'm guiding a friend through the process right now who is not a TRSL member. So please reach out to Social Security, reach out to them on their website or toll free, and you will make an appointment for them for anything revolving around your Medicare or Social Security or anything along those lines that they can help you with. If your age begins in a 6 or you're getting close to a 6, make sure to make an appointment to get some information. Do not assume something that you heard before hasn't changed or is still the same. You want to hear information directly from Social Security. Now I'm going to throw to Cliff in a couple minutes with any questions as we're going to be wrapping up this workshop in a moment. And we want to see, what did you learn today? If you'd like to share something that you learned about today, did you hear something that you thought was true, but you learned it wasn't true? Or vice versa, something that your friend Bob had told you, oh no, this is the deal. And you're going, I don't think Bob's as right as he thinks he is. No worries, no worries. Just reach out to us. Let us know something that you learned today if you want to share that in the Q&A. Things to do now: register for member access, submit important documents to our office, including photocopies, just regular copies of Social Security cards for member and beneficiary, and birth certificates for member and beneficiary. If we need any additional or legal documents, we will absolutely reach out with you during the processing of your retirement application and let you know what we need and how we need that delivered to us. Now's a great time to update your contact info and check to see who your beneficiary is. It may be exactly who you think it is, or it may be, I like to say, sometimes it's a mystery beneficiary. Get a retirement estimate. You can do that online through Member Access or submit a Form 10 to our office if you're either uncomfortable doing that yourself or you're unable to do that on Member Access. There are lots of things you can find online at TRSL.org: brochures, forms, webinars, and newsletters. And if you have any questions after today, we're going to take questions in a moment, but if you have any questions after today, especially specific things that we need to look up, please reach out to us at asktrsl.org, especially things with numbers and dates. And while we're saying that, I do have a question, because y'all asked me this. I got this from y'all last year. We love the dad jokes around here. And so this is one of them. We're doing the fruit and vegetable dad jokes today. And so this particular one was, where do the watermelons go for summer vacation? John Cougar Melon Camp. Not all the kids are going to get that. They're not going to get that one. Here's one the kids will like. Also on the subject of fruits. So why was the strawberry sad? Because it was in a jam. I know. And one more. What's a sad cranberry? A blueberry. Okay, I'll see myself out. So we are here for you. Cliff, I didn't even involve you in any of those. We are here for you. Here's our contact information. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. And I'm going to pause for a moment for my colleague Cliff. I've been hearing him just clicking away. So I think you've probably written in a few questions. You might have written in a comment saying, please stop with the dad jokes. Stop them now. Cliff, what do we have right now?
No, that was my comments. Please stop now.
Any questions or anything coming in, or anything you'd like to wrap up with and share with the group?
So yes, a lot of people have been asking a couple of questions here and there, but the one I wanted to mention, everybody else said, Lee had a great question. If I'm emailing in my application or my forms, is it secure? Where do I email them? Yes. Right now, I can say that because we are currently working on a new member access called My TRSL. Spoilers. But you can email any applications, the forms, copies of documents to the webmaster at web.master@trsl.org. You can also mail them in if you want, but those are the ways we receive all of our documents, either mail them in, email them, or if you happen to be in the Baton Rouge area, you can drop them off as well. So yeah, as a reminder, we are going to be putting this workshop, a copy of it, recording on the website as well as the PDFs, so that way you can download them or watch them or share them with your friends.
Because you might be thinking, hey, my friend Susie needs to hear this information. She's getting ready to retire.
Yes.
Absolutely, we're here for
Sure.
you.
And that is web.master@trsl.org. So just so we're all aware of that. So yeah, that's it.
All right, well, have a safe summer, everybody. Reach out to us if you have any questions, and we might be seeing you on the road sometime. Take care, friends. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye now.